Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Yeshichanzom. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 19th of May. Prime Minister Modi undertakes aerial survey of cyclone-affected areas in Western India. US envoy Khalilzad says fear of Taliban conquering Kabul overblown. And Nepal confirms presence of third and new variant of coronavirus. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday undertook an aerial survey of affected areas in Gujarat state and adjoining Union territory of Diu to assess the devastation caused by Cyclone Tauktae. Driving waves of up to 25 feet on the high seas, Cyclone Tauktae rammed into the western states of Maharashtra and Gujarat over the past 2 days, killing at least 61 people and leaving a trail of destruction, authorities said.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday conducted an aerial survey of the Cyclone Tauktae affected areas of Gujarat and Diu and took stock of the situation. He landed in Bhavnagar, from where he conducted an aerial survey of Una, Diu, Jafrabad and Mahua 2 days after Cyclone Tauktae made landfall in the Saurashtra region. After the survey, the Prime Minister also held a review meeting. Driving waves of up to 25 feet on the high seas, Cyclone Tauktae rammed into the western states of Maharashtra, of which Mumbai is the capital, and Gujarat over the past 2 days, killing at least 61 people and leaving a trail of destruction, authorities said. Indian naval ship Kochi, that was sent for rescue operations off Mumbai coast for those stranded in Arabian Sea during the cyclone, brought back 185 people off the barge P305 on Wednesday. The rescue operations were still underway, with Indian Navy's ships and aircraft scouring waters off the financial capital Mumbai for 77 workers missing from a barge that sank after the powerful cyclone barreled into the country's west coast this week.
अगर आप कहेंगे मेरी संख्या के अनुसार पापा 305 के 185 लोग रेस्क्यूड हो चुके हैं अभी की, अगर हम फिलहाल बात करें, और 2 और जो हैं, एक वरप्रधा दूसरी है। आपको यह भी ये जो आपको जान करके खुशी होगी कि हमारे शिप्स ने, हमारे कमांड ने, हम लोगों ने मिलकर के ऐसा कोऑर्डिनेट किया, एंड वी हैव बीन एबल टू अवर्ट another about 300 more lives at sea.
Meanwhile, Indian capital New Delhi and its adjoining areas received rainfall on Wednesday under the impact of the cyclone Tauktae, which has now moved north-northeastwards across Rajasthan to West Uttar Pradesh. This comes as India battles with the second wave of the deadly COVID-19. On Wednesday, India recorded its highest single-day toll of 4,529 COVID deaths, 267,334 new cases of coronavirus in the last 24 hours, taking the total cases tally in the country to over 25 million.
In news from Pakistan, Pakistan's port city Karachi was hit by gusty winds and a dust storm on Tuesday, under the influence of Cyclone Tauktae in the region, which left 4 people dead.
A powerful dust storm followed by rain hit parts of Karachi on Tuesday evening under the influence of Cyclone Tauktae in southern Pakistan, weather officials said. At least 4 people were killed in roof collapse incidents when strong winds triggered by the dust storm slammed into the city, according to local media reports. Residents, however, welcomed the change in weather conditions after a severe heat spell that had gripped the city for 2 days.
2 दिन से जो बारिश है, सख्त गर्मी और हब्स का माहौल था शहर कराची के अंदर। उसके अंदर हम ताजिर बरादरी के कारोबार खुलने के बाद से सख्त परेशान थे, क्योंकि जिस तरह का मौसम था, गर्मी का दर्जा रहा 44 डिग्री आपने देखा। कराची जो है बर्दाश्त से बाहर था। हम लोग कराची के लोग इस तरह के माहौल के, इस गर्मी की आदी नहीं है। अल्लाह का बड़ा शुक्र हो गया, बारिशें रहमत बन गई, लेकिन साथ साथ ये रहमत भी बनती हुई नज़र आ रही है, जिस तरह से हवा के अंदर ये गर्दो गुबार मौजूद है।
Karachi has been in the grip of a severe heat wave since few days, with temperatures soaring up to 44 degrees Celsius.
More news from Pakistan. Pakistan's opposition PML-N party President Shehbaz Sharif has accused Prime Minister Imran Khan's government of being involved in a number of scandals and responsible for the destruction of the country. The opposition party also blamed Prime Minister Khan of using his influence to tamper the records in alleged cases of scam.
President of PML-N Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Party Shehbaz Sharif on Tuesday accused Prime Minister Imran Khan's government of being involved in a number of scandals and said that the inept ministers of the ruling PTI government are responsible for the destruction of the country. Shehbaz Sharif, who is the opposition leader in the National Assembly, stated that it was PML-N behind controlling inflation and load shedding during its tenure. The present government is mingled in a number of scandals, he said, according to local media reports. PML-N spokesperson Maryam Aurangzeb also accused PM Khan of using his influence to tamper the record in the alleged scams and several other cases.
हो रही है टेम्परिंग 122 अरब की LNG के जो चोरी है उसमें इमरान खान टेम्परिंग कर रहा है. हो रही है टेम्परिंग 500 अरब की चीनी में. हो रही है टेम्परिंग 500 अरब की दवाई चोरी हो गई.
Meanwhile, on Wednesday, the Lahore High Court issued notices to the federal government seeking a reply by May 26 on a petition against not allowing Shehbaz Sharif to travel abroad on medical grounds, despite the court's earlier orders. On Monday, the government had added Shehbaz Sharif's name, who is on a bail in a case pertaining to assets beyond means, to a no-fly list.
Moving on, U.S. Special Envoy Zalmay Khalilzad said on Tuesday that predictions that the Taliban will overrun Afghan government forces and conquer Kabul after foreign forces withdrawal are overblown. Meanwhile, top U.S. General Mark Milley said U.S. and its NATO allies are exploring a possible international effort to help secure the airport in Afghan capital to maintain diplomatic presence even after the drawdown.
U.S. Special Envoy for Afghanistan Reconciliation Zalmay Khalilzad said on Tuesday that predictions that the Taliban will quickly overrun Afghan government forces and conquer Kabul once U.S. and coalition forces are fully withdrawn are unduly pessimistic. Khalilzad made the remarks during a meeting of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, whose members expressed deep worry that President Joe Biden's decision to fully withdraw by September will lead to chaos and intensified civil war in Afghanistan. Khalilzad argued that the Taliban have reason not to push for a military victory and instead pursue a negotiated political settlement that could give them international legitimacy and removal from certain American and UN sanctions.
I personally believe that the statements that the forces will disintegrate and the Talibs will take over in short order are mistaken. The real choices that the Afghans will face is between a long war and negotiated settlement.
Meanwhile, top U.S. General Mark Milley said on Tuesday that the United States and its NATO allies are exploring a possible international effort to help secure the airport in Afghanistan's capital Kabul after American troops withdraw from the country. Milley said the move is one of the key to maintaining a diplomatic presence. He, however, declined to speculate about the size of any international force at the airport.
In news from Nepal, Nepal is the worst affected country in South Asia after India, with the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic wreaking havoc in the Himalayan nation. After confirming 2 variants of coronavirus, Nepal's health ministry has now confirmed that there were cases of third variant B.1.6172 in the country. After confirming 2 variants of coronavirus, Nepal on Tuesday confirmed that there were cases of third variant B.1.6172 in the country. Nepal's Ministry of Health and Population said 3 variants of the virus have been detected. According to Dr. Sameer Kumar Adhikari, assistant spokesperson for the ministry, B.1.6172 is the new variant seen in India, while B.1.6171 is the one seen in the UK. Earlier last year, Nepal reported the variant arising from China. With this, 3 variants of the virus have been detected, Adhikari added in a release. The ministry also urged people to strictly abide by the public health protocols as the new variant is more infectious than the older ones and even deadlier for the people of all age groups. Healthcare workers in Nepal's capital Kathmandu have been grappling to contain the rapid rise of COVID-19 cases as the country is facing shortage of beds, medical supplies and oxygen as the new wave of coronavirus infections has spilled across the Indian border into the country. Nepal's total count of COVID-19 cases stands at 472,354, including 352,414 recoveries and 5,411 deaths. Moving on to news from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's Supreme Court has determined that some clauses in the China-backed Port City Economic Commission bill, which is opposed by the opposition, are inconsistent with the country's constitution. However, the top court added that these clauses can be made valid if amended. The developments were announced in the parliament by the Speaker on Tuesday. Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abhivardhana told Sri Lankan Parliament on Tuesday that the Supreme Court had determined that certain provisions of the Port City Economic Commission bill are inconsistent with the Constitution and directed that those clauses required to be passed by a special majority and a referendum as they were unconstitutional. The decision of the top court was handed over to the Speaker recently after considering 19 petitions filed against the proposed bill. The Port City bill was tabled in the Parliament on April 8, after which 19 petitions were filed in the Supreme Court. Following the Apex Court's verdict on these petitions, a Parliament debate will be held on May 19 and 20. The Port City Colombo is a joint venture between Sri Lanka and China. The bill seeks to establish a special commission that will govern the city as a special economic zone. The $1.4 billion Colombo Port City project is slated to be the single largest private sector development in Sri Lanka amid concerns about China seeking to increase its footprint in the country through contentious infrastructure projects. Sri Lanka has already leased Hambantota port to the Chinese state-run company for a period of 99 years, a move that has caused concern in neighbouring India. The head of the UN Refugee Agency said on Tuesday more international support was needed for thousands of Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh during a donor conference aiming to raise almost $1 billion to fund the response. Donors have so far pledged $340 million to support humanitarian work in both the Rohingya camps and local Bangladeshi communities.
The head of the UN Refugee Agency said on Tuesday more international support was needed for hundreds of thousands of Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh during a donor conference aiming to raise almost $1 billion to fund the response. Close to 1 million Rohingya have been living in crowded camps in southern Bangladesh that comprise the world's largest refugee settlement since fleeing a military crackdown in Myanmar nearly 4 years ago. UNHCR launched an appeal for $943 million to support humanitarian work in both the Rohingya camps and local Bangladeshi communities.
This is an appeal worth $943 million, and we do need contributions. It's 134 partners appealing for this amount of money. It seems a lot. It's really $2 per refugee per day. So it's not an enormous amount of money.
The founder of NGO Friendship, Runa Khan, said the fate of the Rohingya was at risk of being forgotten in the wake of a coup by the army in Myanmar that has thrown the country into further turmoil and sent more people fleeing to the borders since February 1. Later in the day, the UN refugee chief told a news conference that donors had so far pledged $340 million for the 2021 program, meaning it is currently 36% funded.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now, our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/AsAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @AsAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.